texture. Oh, what a feeling. Imagine that you're holding a kitten. How do you think it would feel? Do you think of a word like soft or furry? Now imagine that you're holding a frog that has just jumped out of a swamp. How do you think it would feel? Do you think of a word like slimy or bumpy? When you talk about the way something feels, you're talking about its texture. When you describe the texture of an object, you might use a word like rough, scratchy, prickly, bumpy, or crinkly. Activity. Gather some everyday items with different textures. For example, leaves, marbles, nuts and bolts, cereal, a sponge, a blanket, cotton balls, wood, aluminium foil, shells. Feel each object and then try to think of a word to describe its texture. Now look at this Native American mask. This mask was made for a member of the Iroquois Huskface Society. The Iroquois Indians wore these masks in special ceremonies in which they asked the harvest spirits they believed in to help the crops grow. Can you tell what the mask is made of? Corn husks. Do you see how the artist has braided strands of corn husks to create the pattern of a face? The artist left other husks loose so they look like flowing hair. What words can you think of to describe its texture? Sometimes artists use texture to make their art look very real. Look at this sculpture made over 100 years ago by a French artist named Edgar Degas. The body of the dancer is cast out of a hard substance, but Degas has added other materials. The dancer has a shiny satin ribbon in her hair, and she wears a tutu of a soft material called muslin. When people in France saw this sculpture, they were shocked. They were used to seeing statues made out of hard substances, like stone, but they were surprised to see a statue dressed in materials that a real person might wear. Some painters use different ways of painting to help you imagine the texture of the objects in the picture. They can paint a dress that looks smooth or a mountainside that looks rough. You might not be able to touch the objects, but you can imagine how they feel. Look at this painting called Young Hare by the German artist Albrecht Dürer. He used short, separate brushstrokes and touches of white to imitate the fluffy texture of the rabbit's fur. It almost makes you want to reach out and pet it.